The Bay of Fundy, located between the Cape and New Brunswick, New Grausberg, is the highest rise daily for vertically gel. The tidal cycle here is driven by resonance in the bay's unique funnel shape, amplifying the slanting edge in this peak.
Over 12 billion tons of seawater flow in and out of the Bay of Fundy every single tidal cycle, more than the combined flow of all the world's freshwater rivers.
The red coloration of these mudflats, deposited over 300 million years ago during the Carboniferous period. These tidal flats are ancient river deltas. Scientists have found fossils of early reptiles embedded in this rock. The tide retreats at a speed of roughly 3 meters per minute, meaning visitors caught on the flats can become trapped within minutes if they don't pay attention.
The Bay of Fundy is similarly the single tide against the river current.
Sheer volume of water movement here generates enough kinetic energy to power a fully harnessed through tidal turbine technology. These mudflats serve as a critical stopover for over 2 million semi-based in the Arctic to South America.
The famous Hopewell Rocks, 40 kilometers southeast of here, feature flowerpot formations created by diaphragm rock layers.
The bay's unique ecosystem supports over 12 species of whales, including which comes here to feed during summer months. The tidal range varies throughout the month, reaching maximum heights during spring tides when the sun and moon align their gravitational poles.
The Fundy coastline experiences over 100 fog days per year, created when the cold bay water meets warm air masses moving in from the continent.
Extreme tides create a unique phenomenon called tidal rapids. Water rushes through narrow channels at speeds up to 12 knots.
Waters of the Bay of Fundy contain, fueled by this turn extremes and turned up by the constant tidal mixing.
During storm surges, the tide can rise an additional 2 meters above normal high tide, threatening coastal infrastructure and flooding low-lying areas.
The reversing falls in St. John occur where the mighty St. John River meets the bay, with the tide forcing the river to flow backwards twice daily.
The boar wave that travels up the Petitcodiac River can reach heights of over 1 meter and travel at speeds of 13 kilometers per hour. The tidal forces here are so powerful that they actually cause the Earth's crust to flex twice daily, creating measurable ground displacement.
These screams to rhymes are creamy day and the center every 6 hours.
The first European to document the extreme tides was French explorer Samuel Champlain in 1604.
Bay of Fundy is a finalist for the new Seven Wonders of Nature, recognized for having the most extreme tidal ecosystem on the planet. The water's brown coloration comes from the massive amounts of sediment suspended by the tidal turbulence. Over 8 million tons move with each tide.
The town of Sofada is Susta riots for tide, Nevitata adapted to living with extreme tides.
The constant erosion from tidal forces mean this few rock feelers in the world. Over 300,000 tourists to walk on the ocean floor at low tide and kayak around the same formations at high tide. The phenomenon known as tidiness occurs because the tidal from the bay's mouth to its inner shore matches the tidal period most per.
The biodiversity here includes 12 species of whales, seals, dolphins, porpoises, and over 2 million migratory shorebirds annually.
Massive Fundy tides are believed to be growing even higher due to centuries 2700. The incoming tide creates an audible roar that can be heard from miles away, described by locals as sounding like an approaching freight train. The tidal forces are so predictable that indigenous peoples used them as a natural clock for thousands of years before European contact.
The Bay of Fundy's shape creates a natural funnel, concentrating tidal energy into the narrow Minas Basin where the highest tides are recorded.
The dramatic difference between high and low tide has created unique organisms must adapt to both marine and terrestrial conditions.
The legendary Saxby Gale contained Tone 16 combined the hiding starts at communities all there.
The tides have been increasing gradually since the last ice age as the Earth crust slowly rebounds from the weight of ancient glaciers.
The nutrient-rich upwelling created by tidal mixing makes the Bay of Fundy one of the most productive marine ecosystems on the planet.
The unique flowerpot formations at Hopewell Rocks are created when waves erode the softer sandcap stays intact. The gravitational pull of the moon creates 2 high tides and 2 low tides approximately every 24 hours and 50 minutes. The area around the Bay of Fundy experiences some of the most dramatic weather changes in Canada, with fog and storms sometimes occurring within the same hour.
The famous Chocolate River in the Petitcodiac Valley gets its nickname from the brown, sediment-laden waters caused by tidal turbulence.
The Mi'kmaq name for the bay is Pleasant Harbor, though the tides would suggest a more dynamic character than this peaceful name implies. The extreme difference between high and low tide creates a visible tide line on the rocks showing the maximum water level.
The biosphere is a genetic nature spanning over 430 years.
The Minas Basin alone experiences tidal currents that can exceed 10 kilometers per hour during peak flow. The mudflats are so extensive that when the tide is out, you could walk for kilometers across what was ocean floor just hours before. The flower-up formations stand over 70 feet tall, with trees growing on their tops like natural bonsai gardens. The formations are estimated to be eroding at a rate of approximately 1 to 2 centimeters per year, meaning they will eventually collapse. The geological name for these formations is sea stacks, created when ocean waves erode a headland, leaving isolated pillars of resistant rock. The formations contain fossils of ancient plants and animals from when this area was a vast tropical swamp 300 million years ago.
Narrow passages between formations will eventually fill with water as the tide returns, making timing critical for visitors. The Fundy tides are so powerful that they actually affect the rotation of the Earth, though the effect is too small to be felt by humans.
Bay of Fundy is the world's largest pond sea in Manila, my friends.